Hello students, welcome to this video. And this video serves as the introduction to the book, A Handful of Nuts by Ruskin Bond. Let me first show the book to you. So this is the book, A Handful of Nuts by Ruskin Bond. And this book is actually a novel, a short novel, in fact, a novella. And I'll be discussing the difference between a novel and a novella in subsequent lectures. But the main thing is that this comes under the under unit. I mean, this we'll be studying in unit 5 of the paper, Indian Writing in English. And let me just share screen with you and show you exactly. We've done that. You've already got a copy of this, but still. So as I told you that, myself and Professor S. Balasubramanian will be handling the paper, and we are dividing the paper. There are 5 units in this paper, and we are dividing the paper accordingly like this. Units 1, 2, and 3 will be handled by SBS sir, and units 4 and 5 will be handled by me. So in unit 5, in short story, you have 2 books. You have 2 short stories, in fact. One is A Handful of Nuts, and the other is Laburnum for My Head. Actually, 2 short stories. But to be very frank, and one is, of course, The Handful of Nuts is by Ruskin Bond, and Laburnum for My Head is by Temsula Au. Let me just stop share. But if you look at it, this is not a short story exactly. This is actually a novel, short novel, and this is written by Ruskin Bond. And obviously, there immediately you will have a lot of questions. When you look at the name of the author, we are doing this under the in the paper Indian Writing in English, and you may have this doubt as to how a name called Ruskin Bond comes under the. I mean, how can a book by Ruskin Bond be taught in Indian Writing in English? And the explanation goes like this. See, Ruskin Bond is actually a person of British descent. He's actually an Englishman, but he is an Anglo-Indian. He's an Englishman settled in India. So by definition, or by, the Constitution of India says, and actually he's also saying at many points in the narrative and in general, in other interviews and in other books, he has made it very clear that he is an Indian. In fact, he says at one point in this book, he says that I feel that I am in the, I'm an Indian, and my feet are planted in Ganges soil, something like that. I'm just paraphrasing his words. I mean, planted in the sense he is a resident of India, of the Gangetic plain. Okay, of the Gangetic, near the Ganges. He's a resident of India. So he's considered as obviously he's considered as an Indian writer. He's an Anglo-Indian, but well, obviously Anglo-Indians are Indians. Okay, so let us dive straight into the book. So A Handful of Nuts is actually it's a wonderful book, because when you compare it with, I'm not making this, I'm not making a negative comment, but take it like this. Kantapura is a bit of a heavy read. When you start reading it, it's a very heavy text to read. Okay, I won't say very heavy, but it's a heavy text to read. Because you'll have to follow the narrator. The narrator has his or her own way of going about narrating the story. Here, this is almost semi-autobiographical. This talks about semi-autobiographical in the sense Ruskin Bond's life in a small town, and the small town is actually presently the capital of the Indian state of Uttarakhand. Okay, and which is the capital of the Indian state of Uttarakhand? It's Dehradun. So he is talking about his life in the small town of. I mean, I'm talking about. Of course, it's a fairly big city right now, but when he where the time that he's writing about, the period, that the time period that he's describing, namely the 1950s, Dehradun was a small town. Okay, so and this novella has I'll tell you how many chapters it has. It has got it runs to around 104 115 pages. Okay, to be very precise, 118 19 120 pages. Yeah, 120 pages, and it's you can easily read it over a weekend. You take Saturday and Sunday, and then you can complete reading that, and it has a total of 19 chapters and followed by an epilogue. Okay, there are 19 chapters in this book, in this novel, followed by an epilogue. And he himself says that this is not a novel, it's a novella. That is, it's a shorter form of a novel. And he has deliberately, tried this genre, this form of literature for certain reasons. We'll be discussing that, of course. And the reasons he states very clearly in the, in the introduction to the book. Okay, in the author's note, he says that. So, and let us a quick look at what he discusses or what he narrates in this particular novella. See, this novella is about a person coming of age. That is, he is around 20. He's just 3 or 4 months short of his 21st birthday. And he is narrating the events that happened just before his 21st birthday, and 1 or 2 events that happened after his birthday. So it covers a period of around 6 to 7 months in the small town of Dehradun. And of course, I just wanted to share with you show you the location of Dehradun so that you can appreciate where it is. Remember, when you compare Delhi, which is the capital of our country, to Dehradun, Delhi is relatively hot, and Dehradun is much, much cooler. Although it is in the plains, you are still not in the hills. It's a cooler place, and I'll show you exactly where Dehradun is, and you will understand the geographical location much better. So people, dear students, let me share the map of India, and I hope you're able to see this. Yeah, and I'm sharing the screen, and we are in Uttar Pradesh right now. So there, just follow the cursor. You can see that you can see the position of Delhi. Delhi is, of course, at the border of Haryana and New Delhi. Sorry, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, and there you have New Delhi. And then from there, if you travel north, you have Dehradun. Okay, Dehradun is at the foothills. Okay, just a minute. The Nolti, Mussoorie. Okay, so there we are. So Dehradun is at the foothills, and then you have Mussoorie here, and you have other places in the hills. Okay, so you see the border between Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is in the plains and Uttarakhand is in the hills. Okay, this was called as Uttaranchal in those days. And the main point is the Dehradun of the 1950s. I've stopped share. Okay. The Dehradun was of 1950s was a small town, and there was not much going on there. But remember, just one more background information before we start the story. Dehradun happens to be the place where almost, I won't say almost, but where very famous residential schools were there. That is, initially after independence, we did not have that many residential schools. Schools used to be there in villages and in the nearby towns. So people used to walk down or take some form of transport and go there. Residentials, usually people stayed in the hostel for university education or for collegiate education. Usually people will not stay in a hostel for school education, but Dehradun is special. It has a special place for, or it's known for residential schools, and one school is, of course, Doon School, and even that is mentioned in the book. So it's a wonderful book. It talks about a person, a young man who is about to turn 21, his adventures in small town in small town India. And of course, you may ask, why is this Anglo-Indian, why is this person of British descent staying in Dehradun? That question will be answered when we start the book. There is a strong reason for this person to stay there. Is he staying with family, or is he alone? Or okay, all these questions will be answered as we go through the narration. It's a beautiful book to go through, and it touches your heart precisely because there are so many things that he says which happen in our daily life. Okay, so I am sure you will enjoy this book a lot because it's much closer to your heart. I'm not saying Kantapura is not, but this novel will, it's easier to read, and it talks about much more everyday things rather than the freedom struggle and the seriousness of the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, etc. Of course, I'm not making any unfavorable comparison, but still, okay. So enjoy this book. Please buy this book. It's available online. It's available in bookstores. A Handful of Nuts by Ruskin Bond. And of course, there are some friends of the author who make the narration even more lively, who make daily life for him very lively. Okay, so with that, I'd like to close the video. I wish you all the best please buy the book. I wish you all the best in reading the book. Enjoy each chapter, each incident as it goes, and I'm sure by the end of the semester, this may be, in fact, I would say this will be your favorite book. Thank you. See you in the next video.